Greetings, tubies. Welcome back to my channel. Back to the basics, my private YouTube channel. I'm documenting my adventures in the great outdoors, more or less. If this is your first time watching. This is such a pretty little creek. I've walked down it several times. It's just, each season has something different to offer in nature, and I like to check out my favorite spots in all 4 seasons if I have the chance. So I'm out here walking in the woods today, in the hills of Kentucky, and we've been following a dry creek bed, and I can smell the water now where we're getting back to some serious water. There's water bugs, and with global warming and climate change, I wouldn't be surprised if I came across turtles or snakes, even though it's almost 1st of January. It's pretty nice out today. Oh, okay, this is what I'm smelling. This is an output here from a water treatment plant that is not too far from here. Obviously, this is like this back door or whatever, or one of them anyhow. I'm not sure exactly what they're putting out there in that water that's making it bubble so much, unless that's just the oxygen of the rapids right there, which, you know, I'm pretty sure it is, and that's why they call it white water. The only reason I'm questioning that is there's a smell almost of detergent, like laundry detergent, and it's very, very thick in the air right now. So kind of reminds you of your washing machine when you're washing clothes. If you've ever had to, you know, open up in the middle of a load and, you know, add anything or what have you not, that smell that smacks your nostrils. I just smelled that majorly while I was walking around that plug. Now I'm already, what, 30, 40 feet away with that, and I can't smell it already. So I'm sure that there is more than just water being pumped out of that. Like I said, it's coming from a water treatment facility, so who knows what they've cleaned the water with there. Or maybe it's even just bleach from where I've heard water plants bleach water. So right here I've noticed that there's some bird droppings on the ground. That may be a good indicator of where a nest is, and you might be able to find some eggs there, or even hunt something if it happens to be a big enough bird that you can eat. So you want to keep that in mind when you're out here trying to survive. If you do happen to see what looks like white paint splashes, more than likely it's one thing and one thing only, and that's bird crap. So if you see bird crap, check the trees above you if you can, or the surrounding area, and you're going to find birds' nests. So you'll either have a better chance at excuse me, a better chance at shooting one with a bow or a sling or something, or even have a chance to set a snare for a bird. You can set a snare for a bird just like any other animal. It's just a little bit trickier to try to predict where a bird's going to land and where it's going to put one of its feet, because you're going to make basically a lasso and fasten it over with a pressure point, so that once that little toe or leg sits down, that loop comes up around its ankle, or whatever you want to call it, and scoops it right up and pretty much hangs it upside down. It'll try to fly away, but it'll either get all wrapped up, or it'll pass out from all the blood going to its head. So either way, it makes it real easy for you. So I've just passed another potential food source. If I'm out here on the game show alone, or I'm just trying to survive in the woods, and I come across this right here, it may not look like much, And it may look like ooh to you, but I'll tell you right now, this stuff right here is highly edible. I've eaten some before, done some research on it. I just call it jelly because that's what it reminds me of. And you can eat it raw, or you can turn it into a paste, put it on things, eat it with, you know, crackers or whatever you have. If you're out in the woods, you're not going to have any crackers, but you know, you can find something to mix it up with, or like I said, just eat it by itself. And this stuff is pretty common. As you'll see, this is what caught my eye, sticking up out of the ground. But as you take a closer look, you know, it's all over. So hell, just between those two branches right there, that's a good mouthful of food. And I'm sure that it's just littered all over this ground, but I'm not going to stop and show you every bit of it. But point in case, here's another branch, and this has some really big, fresh, wet specimens. That would be probably the most tasty of all. So there you have that. We've come across several food sources today, from deer droppings to raccoon tracks, deer tracks, possum. Let's see here, several different types of mushrooms now. At least 3 different species of mushrooms that were plentiful enough to eat, and then that jelly-like fungus right there, which is definitely edible as well. So what else can we talk about out here to distract myself from looking for giant artifacts? I think I talked a little bit about pine in one of my other videos. Pine is highly edible. There isn't much in the form of pine that you can eat, like I said before, other than the yew tree. I like all evergreens, not only because they're pretty and they smell amazing and citrusy when they burn, but because of their positivity that they're imbued with, all of their positive attributes. That's what I was going on about with the positive smell, the fact that you can eat it, the fact that they're good for medicine. Pine needles can be turned into a beverage as well. It can be brewed into kind of a tea. They can be mixed with chicory and turned into pine coffee. Cedar. Cedar is another one of my favorite trees. Right here is a fine specimen of cedar. This is a nice big old tree, just big enough for me to get my arms around it. I'm gonna guess that this cedar is probably 90 or 100 feet tall. I could be way off. That was a straight shot up and I can't really see the tip of it. But cedar here is an amazing tree. It can be used for so many things. This bark right here, having trouble seeing my camera. There we go. This bark right here that's real fluffy and scraggly can be pulled off and turned into, rolled up into balls, into tight balls, and burnt in bowls as incense. It can be ground up once it's rolled into a ball like that. It can be ground up with a mortar and pestle, and it can be powdered, and it can be burnt as incense that way as well. Cedar, here's another little cedar tree. See, this is some of the inner bark. This bark right here can be peeled off in big pieces at a time, and that can be used as well for incense and things like that. If you peel off enough bark and roll it up and tie it like you would a smudge stick, you can make cedar smudge sticks like people do with white sage. It is used for much the same thing. The Potawatomi and the Chippewa and several other tribes used cedar and burn it, either for a purifying ceremony or for some sort of religious ceremony. I believe the Chippewa used cedar religiously whereas the other tribes like the Potawatomi and their allies used it purely for ceremonial purposes, religion aside. Some say that cedar is the tree of life. Here's another beautiful cedar, and you can see the red in this one a bit more. But cedar is an antibiotic. It's an antiseptic. Let's see. It's an insecticide. You can use cedar boughs. You can cut small cedars down, cut branches off the large ones, and kind of split them and crack them. And you can lay them around your dwelling, especially if you're out in nature, and it will repel insects. You can refine it down to oil, and you can turn that oil into a spray, and it will repel insects. You can use that type of spray or that type of oil or sap on wounds as an antiseptic, as I said before, to clean your wounds and to put on maybe when you change bandages or something. So cedar is very, very, very versatile, as all evergreens are. It was heavily used by shaman and medicine men. It's used for astral travel. I was explaining a little bit earlier about turning cedar into incense and burning it, and that's exactly what shaman would do in a similar setting as a sweat lodge, or even with a sweat lodge. But they would go in their wigwam or wickiup or whatever it was that they built for those purposes, and they would burn it in large quantities and ingest it. And as they did, they would start to travel, into the upper world, or even down to the lower world, the spirit worlds, and they would do work there for people of their tribe, people of their band, whether it was healing, trying to heal them physically, or whether it was going there on their behalf and speaking to the powers that be, or whatever. Cedar has been used for such sacred purposes for centuries, and quite probably more accurately for millennia. So that being said, cedar is my favorite tree. Some people say that it's the journeying tree of the shaman, which allows you to climb up the branches into the upper world, or to climb into the knot hole and down through the roots to the lower world. So I should be approaching my Goldenseal patch that I found earlier this year. It's the largest one I've ever seen in my life. I wish that I could dig it, but I can't, because it is unfortunately federal property. At least I believe it is. Saunders Springs is slightly to the west of the patch, and Fort Knox is, I believe, right up, all up on it. I may actually be trespassing right now, unbeknownst to myself, other than my slight suspicion that I may have wandered off of the property around Saunders Springs and actually onto the federal property reserve owned by Fort Knox. So maybe I shouldn't be prattling on about that, but it's not like I'm purposely trespassing or I'm actually hurting anything. And it'd be totally different if I planned on coming out here and digging all of the Goldenseal up. So that being said, I'm looking and I'm not seeing the Goldenseal patch, and I was wondering earlier this year when I was down here checking it out. I came and checked it out a couple of times, and like I said, it was the biggest Goldenseal patches I've ever seen in my life. So I don't know if somebody is farming it, and maybe a handful of people came in and cleaned it up, or I just haven't walked far enough to it yet, and it's just further than I remember. All the seasons look a little different. Spring and summer probably have the most in common, save for certain places where fall and summer are really about the same until the very, very tail end of fall, and then everything drops off. But here in this neck of the woods, there are typically 4 very distinct seasons, more or less 3 months of each, and each one is drastically different out in nature. And so the same spot can look not even remotely the same in your mind's eye. You could be walking through a place you've been every summer for your whole life, and go through early spring or late winter or early winter, late fall, and have no idea where you're at if there weren't trails or whatever. So now I know where I'm at, and I am approaching the Goldenseal Patches. So either I'm about to show you a bunch of dried up Goldenseal tops, and I might pull one root out for y'all just to see, or I'm about to show you some gigantic patches of bare earth where there was a shit ton of Goldenseal this summer. And when I say a shitload, I mean there were thousands of Goldenseal plants. I honestly have never seen so much in one spot. I didn't know that much could grow in one spot and not become root bound. So they fooled me. Go up the hill here. I see a lot of green up here. So either there's still Goldenseal tops, or we're looking at a hillside of Christmas tree ferns. And we're looking at a whole hillside of Christmas tree ferns. So this is the spot where the Goldenseal was growing. Unfortunately, it appears like most of it has been harvested. And that's okay. Like I said, I didn't come here to harvest it anyway. I had a feeling that it may have been Boy Scouts, private property, or even military property, just because of the vast sheer size of the patches. I keep getting sidetracked, but that's going to kind of happen when you're trying to pick your way through the hillside and, not harm yourself, as well as carry on the conversation. So yeah, here I am, and I come to show you guys the Goldenseal, and I think you can kind of see here where some of the Goldenseal is at. Okay. And now it's just empty, flat, and empty, flat grass. That's about it. So, Christmas tree ferns. I'm not sure how good the camera is on here, but if you can see up there and see the greenery, the big patch of greenery in the middle, and it just kind of stretches from about 25-30 feet ahead of me, and then all the way back the way I just came, probably about half the length of a football field. That was about the length of the Goldenseal patches. So kind of disappointed that they weren't here for me to show to you guys, but in the same breath I'm not, because it is a temptation to come back and dig. Goldenseal right now is going for $26 a pound, and when there's thousands of plants, God only knows how many pounds that could possibly come out to be. So quite a few $100 anyway. I'll about wrap this video up. It turned out a whole lot longer than I ever expected it to be, and I'm sure that it's just filled with a whole lot of useless rambling and me getting off of the point. But now that I'm done picking my way through the woods and realize that the golden seal's gone, I'm gonna walk over here to the creek. I'm gonna sit down. I won't lie, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette. Bad habit I picked back up. I'm gonna send some prayers up, thanking the ancestors for a good day, for a lovely hike. I'm gonna show you guys these polypores here on this tree real quick because I'm a nerd and I can't help it. And then I'm gonna cut this off and head back to my truck. Probably take me about an hour. So here we have some polyporous fungi on this tree here. It looks like a knot on the tree if you're just looking down, and it's hard like wood, you know, but it is not wood. It is polyporous, and it is not very good to eat. This is one of the polypores that I would not recommend trying to eat. I don't believe that it's even technically edible. Most polypores are, and these just go on all the way on up the tree there. They kind of look like the tree is diseased or something, but it's just a fungus, and they're so hard and connected to the tree. It'd take a rock or a hammer to knock them off, and so people, for the most part, mistake them for knots in the wood, which they are not. Haha, get it? They're not knots? Okay. Anyway, till we meet again, peace.